what's up guys? Tom and Jake here. We got the Buff Nerd Squad. We're up in Lake Arrowhead, California. And we came up here because we found that this would be a perfect place to put our new prototype, the Dream Effects filter, through the ringer. If you haven't already seen on our site, on our Instagram, we have worked on and prototyped over the last several months a softening filter. For those of you who have never used a softening filter, basically in this era where cameras are shooting 8K, you've got these like razor crisp lenses, which is nice, but sometimes can be a little unflattering on the skin. So if you're kind of wanting to soften your highlights, maybe you've got a really nice backlight from some sun, trying to maybe smooth over some of the maybe blemishes on like a subject, this is the perfect filter. As to, me and Jake are DPs ourselves, I have always gravitated towards diffusion. It just stems from sort of a filmic look. Without getting too technical, when you shoot on film, essentially what you're getting is the celluloid or the film itself. When the light hits it and bounces off the remjet, which is just the back strip of the film, you actually get a bloom, and that's very much lacking from digital. So when you shoot on a red, it's just very crisp, it's very sterile, which works for certain projects. We're not saying use this on everything, but the way we gravitate to our eye, our sensibility, we always found ourselves using a softening filter. So with Prism Lens Effects, we wanted to develop our own, essentially.
Because I mean, essentially where it stemmed from is in the past, we've used Hollywood Blackmagic or Black Pro Mist, which I'm sure so many of you guys are familiar with on pretty much every project we've done, because again, the cameras are so sharp today and it just kind of gives it that, that creamy look a little bit. And so, but it's all so expensive. I mean, a Black Pro Mist Hollywood Blackmagic filter in a 4x5 frame for your matte box, which we use,
almost
will run you like $500. And so we kind of, with Prism Lens Effects, we decided like, let's develop our own, not only for the 4x5, but a screw-on to screw on the front of your lens as well, because those run about 100 or so, could be even more. And so with Prism Lens Effects, it was like, we use this on all our own stuff, let's develop our own that's also more affordable and caters towards people who are coming up who don't have $100 to $500 to drop on a filter for their camera. So that's kind of where it stemmed from. We've been working on it for months, and we're up here, we're testing it. We're running, like doing a little spec commercial film, just doing test shots, photos, and honestly, it's really, really good. Yeah, I mean, obviously I don't know how this is being edited. We'll probably show some of the example clips, but I think one of my favorite aspects of this filter is just the look it gets. And we've gotten a lot of feedback so far, mostly positive, but a lot of people have asked, oh, well, can't I just make this adjustment in post? And the short answer is no. I really don't think it's possible. I have friends who work at Company 3, I have friends who are legit colorists, and yeah, there's certain things with the Luma key and doing all these things, but let's be honest, you're shooting a clip, 3 weeks later, you're coloring it, you're editing it. Are you gonna really remember on one close-up, on a certain angle that you want to drop in a filter? Like, I'm always a fan of doing it in camera. I think when you do it in camera, other creatives, directors, people see the look you're going for. If you have to do the cop-out of like, oh, it's not gonna look like this, we're gonna edit it later and soften it later, you're gonna start to lose people. So I think when you can get a filter that gets closer to the final look that you're going for, and if that final look is more filmic, softer highlights, softer skin, I think when you pair this with a really sharp sensor and a really sharp camera, it looks so good. Well, I think essentially what it comes down to, if you look at like the core science and art behind filmmaking, film, essentially, whether it's on film or digitally, light is being, pushed through the lens and captured on whether it's film or a digital sensor. And so what you do in front of the lens affects the light in your scenario, whether it's in a studio or in nature. The light that's coming through your lens and what you're capturing in front of that sensor is directly affected. And so you could try and artificially like develop that in post, but it's just not the same as if you do it in camera. And that goes for so many different effects, and that's why you see so many TV shows, movies today, they use certain filtration or certain effects in front of lens, because there's just certain things, one, you can't duplicate in post, and if you try and do, you're just adding more time and budget to the project. So the more you can do in camera, the better, and that's why for every project we've used these filters in the past, and why we've now developed our own.
So in short, quick breakdown of what we've been up to. Excited to get more content up there. We definitely want to do like a side-by-side comparison, comparing this to, the popular alternatives, but not just saying this because it's our company. I wholeheartedly think we've come up with something truly special. This filter, after several iterations, it truly just affects the highlights, where the issue I've had with Black Pro Mist is you do get a softening agent, which is called halation, but you're also just getting like a lifted black point. Like your deepest blacks are now actually lifted, and that could be a look you're going for. But ultimately, if you just want to affect your highlights, soften your subject, we feel like we've developed a filter that just affects and targets the highlights in your image without affecting the toe of your image, the lower part, the shadows, the contrast too much. So yeah, thank you guys. Hopefully this kind of answered a little bit what we've been up to, and a
little bit about it. And if you do want to learn more about it, we'll link it in the description below. You can go check it out. Pre-order is live now, and yeah, we look forward to creating more and more different filters and effects and things that you guys can use to enhance your project. So go support us. We appreciate your support. Thanks for watching. I'm Jakob Owens.
Tom. Peace.
And we're out.